Lori, obviously it's important to understand how to hold people accountable, but I feel like most people look at this, probably on both sides of it, as purely a punitive action. Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, you think about it. I don't want to be held accountable. It's when we hear that, even it evokes an emotion. It's kind of like I'm going to catch you doing something wrong.
Right.
I'm going to hold you accountable for something. I'm going to control you. And yeah, people don't want to be held accountable. And from a leadership standpoint, when we think about that, we really have to think about what is our intent with accountability? Why are we doing this? And it really boils down to helping. Are we helping somebody stay aware of something? Are we helping someone stay on track with something? It feels so much better.
Changes the entire paradigm of it.
Changes the whole energy and everything around it. The leader's intent should always be to help. When it's to help, it's going to come across an entirely different way, the emotion behind it. So the reason people resist that accountability is for that reason.
Well, when the boss is like, "Ooh, I get to yell at this guy," that's why this person dreads going to work, because they're always clubbed over the head by being held accountable.
What it does is it sets them back in their child role. Yeah. They feel like whether their parents were that way or their school teacher or their principal was that way, it makes them feel smaller and more reactive instead of feeling an equal and somebody that is empowered within the workplace. So accountability needs to come through with a positive and helpful intent. It's going to be really important for us as leaders to make sure our mindset is there when we're helping people stay on track.
Is there a process? Is there a system that I can implement that makes this process easier?
Yeah, it's always easier with a tool, right, Todd?
Right.
So there's a really cool tool called the accountability ladder. And the accountability ladder helps us to recognize, where we are on the accountability ladder first and foremost. And it can be then used to help other people see where they are on the accountability ladder. And it's basically in two parts. There's the bottom rungs and there's the upper rungs. And we don't want to be on the bottom rungs of the accountability ladder. It's interesting because a lot of times people don't even know why or know that they're on the bottom rungs of the accountability ladder. And the greatest thing that we have as human beings that can help us with an awareness of that is our emotions. When you're on the bottom rungs of the accountability ladder, when you're feeling stuck or you're feeling miserable. Those bottom rungs are that you're blaming, you're complaining, you're making excuses. Even I wait and hope is on the bottom rungs of that accountability ladder. And often people will say, well, why is that, a negative? Well, it's when you wait and hope and you feel like you can't do anything, you can't have an impact, and you're feeling frustrated. It's not about waiting and hoping and everything's cool. It's when you're in that frustration mode. Upper rungs, you're feeling good. You're feeling like you're in control. You're feeling like you're making an impact. You're making a difference. So the upper rungs, it's about acknowledging reality. It's about starting to seek solutions. It's about starting to take ownership in making things happen. So the accountability ladder is a great awareness tool. It helps us to see, and it is, a little bit of step by step. As soon as you realize that it's reality, then you can start to seek solutions. Then you can start to take ownership and really make things happen.
Well, I think part of the problem with holding people accountable is that we all seem to believe that the only person that can do that is our boss.
Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't we be operating in a business environment where our peers can hold us accountable? And that strikes me as that would be such a different way to function as an organization.
Yeah, you think about what the benefit would be to the leader, first of all, because what's happening is when you set yourself up in that position of being the only one that's holding people accountable, when two people on our team say they're taking part in a project and one person doesn't do their piece, and maybe they even try to have some words with the person and they're just not motivated to do it, they'll run to the boss now instead of being able to work it out amongst themselves. This is completely inefficient. And it creates an atmosphere where there's no trust amongst peers. And so it's going to be critical for somebody in a leadership position to realize that we've got to create an environment where people can hold each other accountable, where we can call each other out, where I can say, Todd, where's your piece of it? We agreed on this time, why didn't you get that to me? And it doesn't have to be a scolding or condescending. Yeah, not a punitive kind of thing. But again, we're helping people stay on track. We're also, though, not afraid to have that conversation with each other. When the leader is willing to, first of all, hold other people accountable first, they go first, they set the stage for that. Other people then will model that behavior. And ironically, the leader won't need to do it as much. I'll be honest, I don't really like holding people accountable. It's not something that I enjoy doing. When I think about helping them stay on track, it makes it easier. But there's still going to be times when it's not going to feel easy, when it's going to feel like, I've really got to call somebody out on that, or I've really got to, bring that to light. And it always helps when you have your intent in place and know the why behind it, but it still can feel a little awkward for people. So it's good that we create this environment where people do feel like, all right, we're going to be able to have these conversations. We trust each other in that. We know that it's not for punitive reasons. It's because we're all going toward the same goal, and we want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can as a team.
I think it's also important to note that if you are operating from a place of grit, you have your grit together, this process almost becomes a fun collaborative one where there is no notion of this being a punitive action.
Yeah, it's really brilliant. Because that's really the benefit of grit. When you think about generosity, respect, integrity, and truth, and people really have that in alignment for themselves, then it becomes a moot point. We don't really need accountability measures because everyone is empowered and they really want to give their best. They want to do their best. They're aligned in the right way. They're focused on the right things. And authentic and natural generosity comes about naturally.